COP15 is a COP dedicated to biodiversity, and it stands for the 15th meeting of parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity. And biodiversity is a focus within Allianz Global Investors' three core sustainability themes: climate change, inclusive capitalism, and planetary boundaries, where biodiversity sits. Biodiversity addresses ways we could sustain our global population in a higher temperature world. It is vital to life on our planet, and it supports everything that we need to survive and maintain life. Nature is critical to meeting the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, and towards limiting the global warming to 1.5 degrees. But our natural capital is being put at risk, and it's harmed by human activity at an unprecedented rate. Therefore, it's impacting the functioning of ecosystems and the ability to provide basic life support services. So the COP27 saw a formal acknowledgement of the climate and biodiversity crises being interlinked. The COP15's primary aim is to adopt the so-called post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. Now, this framework provides a strategic vision and global roadmap for the conservation, protection, restoration, and sustainable management of biodiversity and ecosystems for the next decade. It outlines what countries will need to do, individually and collectively, to halt and reverse biodiversity loss. The ambition is to put the world on a path that secures nature for future generations. The draft framework recognizes that urgent policy action globally, regionally, and nationally is required to transform the economic, social, and financial models so that the trends that have exacerbated biodiversity loss will stabilize by 2030 and allow for the recovery of natural ecosystems with net improvements by 2050. For this to happen, the framework adopted needs to be more outcome-oriented than in the past and set out an ambitious plan to implement action. A positive final agreement on the framework would represent the most significant event for the natural capital agenda in this decade. It could be the nature equivalent of the Paris Climate Agreement that is being used all around the world as a reference. So biodiversity must now be tackled at the same level as climate change. There are many. A key question, and one where regulation may play a part, is around how to finance biodiversity and restoration. Today, it is estimated that the volume of public and private financial flows that are harmful to biodiversity are at least 5 to 6 times higher than the finance for preserving biodiversity. This topic will also extend to the direction and redirection of subsidies, especially for low-income countries. To achieve progress on this, guidance will be needed on how companies can operate while being nature positive, or at the least, not nature negative. Indeed, they need to be more clear on how to translate their growing awareness and ambitions into their strategies, targets, risk management, and disclosures. A lot of progress is being done on creating frameworks for biodiversity disclosure, but it needs to go faster. We believe that this guidance will be framed by the evolution in biodiversity data, risk identification, management of that risk, and disclosures, and possibly regulation. We hope that despite these challenges, a successful COP15 will propel biodiversity into greater focus for 2023 and also provide a structured path for the private sector to play a better role helping to protect our planet.